Hi everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome everyone. We're going to be talking about wealth building, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Thank you for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome everyone. Hi, Miss Jasmine. I am going to get here soon. Just 1 second. Okay, let me add you accept. Okay. Hi.
Look, my tree is still up. Okay, don't judge me.
This, I have like 3 trees that are still up. I don't take down my trees until like February, March.
Exactly. Exactly.
It takes
Okay.
a long time to put up, and I'm still gonna be experiencing Christmas for a very long time. I'm not in a hurry to pull
You
that
know,
down.
I just feel like it brings, for me, I'm gonna try and sit my phone down.
Okay.
Let me see if I can maybe put it here. But yeah, perfect. It brings a certain joy into the home,
Right.
um, the spirit. So yeah.
It does. Absolutely, absolutely. And then I have 3 kids, so it's seven,
Okay.
5, and 3 years old. I'm definitely not taking that Christmas tree down till like end of Q1. But how are you? How was your
Really,
day?
really good. Really good. It's been an exciting and productive
Okay.
first, but four
I
days of the
know.
year.
Does it feel like it's half, like we're like in February already, or it's just me?
Yeah, it is going fast, but I something that I want to do this year is really I don't know why, but joy has been this reoccurring word for me this year. Like I really want to relish in the sweet
Right.
joy of still, of doing nothing, of doing everything.
Yeah.
I just want to like operate with from that place of gratitude and joy, because I think joy is deeper than happiness. Joy
Oh,
is,
oh yes.
yeah, I think joy is something um internal. No one can
Yeah.
give
No one
you.
can give it.
But yeah, so
No one can
but
give it. Yeah.
you, how was your day?
Oh, my day was interesting. So when I joined, I was laughing because my daughter goes for maths classes in the evening, and for some weird reason, I thought my husband was picking her up, but the maths teacher calls says, "Well, who's picking her up?" so, so she just came in and she was hitting on my door like, "Daddy forgot me." I was like, "No, don't worry, you're fine, babe." Yeah, but
Yeah.
my day was good. It's been an interesting first week so far, I think, because I had like a retreat at the end of December, but somehow I kind of like got into the reading and the, I don't know, the speed of things. And so that's why for me, January feels like it's so busy already. So I need to make sure that I pace myself and plus one to what you say around stillness. I think stillness is so important. And the funny thing is, stillness is actually one of my words for 2024.
Really?
Stillness, yes, it is. Stillness is my word because I believe that there's so much
Yeah.
noise everywhere. There's
Yeah.
so much. It's funny. I always say that it's funny that it's harder to be still and easier to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
When actually it should be the reverse. And so stillness is one of my keywords for 2024. It's
I love
be
that.
still and know that He
Oh
is.
God.
Yeah,
Um, I I love that because it's also in alignment with what I was sharing about joy. Finding the joy in being still. So often we as mothers, as wives, as employees, as business
yeah,
owners, find our value attached to what we do. Our value is attached to some tangible output. Um, Sometimes that value is just being self-aware and
yeah,
peace. So redefining what value means, like how do you obtain value. So that's exciting. That is super exciting.
yeah. Absolutely. I remember seeing a quote that said, "Who are you when you're not interrupted?"
Ooh.
Um, yeah, and interruption is everything we do every day. But who are you when there's
Yep.
nothing, no title?
Yep.
Are you? Do you still feel full of yourself? Do you still feel that you are all of that and more without
Yeah.
all of
And
that?
this is going to start to unveil and unpack those layers, right? Because I know for me, when you said when you're not interrupted, I immediately went like my mind goes a million.
Right.
So the practice of being still, of trusting,
Mhm.
knowing that God is God, and the other thing, part of that is also just anxiety, and I think anxiety is a symptom of control, like an incessant
Mhm. Yes.
outcome.
Yeah.
Because when you relinquish, or should I say surrender, the control, all of a sudden it's much more simple to be still. It's much more easy to be still.
Exactly. Exactly. That you're absolutely right. And because even stillness, we can't do by our own power. Our flesh wants to move, and so that means you have to surrender to the Holy Spirit,
Yes.
and and because He's the one who keep you still. But I know we literally just where I feel if you're just joining us, this is literally the kind of conversation we're going to be having on 21st of January. And if you don't know what's happening January 21st, we're having Prepare, Pray, Plan 2024. And I have the amazing Miss Jasmine, who's going to be coming and teaching us all about wealth building. And thank you all for joining us. This is Women Don't Need Afraid, and we are an impact-driven organization that is really committed to helping women grow individually and collectively. We're all about empowering and mobilizing women to be more. And more can mean anything for anyone. More can mean less of something, right? So we don't define more for that woman. We just want to get them from where they are to the more that they want to get to. And January 21st, which is a couple of weeks to go, we are literally kicking off 2024 in an amazing way. I say it's goal setting, vision boarding, everything pro max, because we are taking time to really be intentional about what we want to see in our 2024. And I'll talk more about the event and how it's structured. But please, Jasmine, I want you to introduce yourself to maybe people on this call who don't know who you are. Tell us all about your brilliance and everything. I want to know.
Well, thank you first and foremost for having me, Stella. It's an honor to be here with you. My name is Jasmine. I am the co-founder of the Wealth Academy, which is a national financial agency. We specialize in retirement planning, health insurance, life insurance, wealth management, and that's what we do. We also teach, so that's the product side. But the people development side is what I'm always most excited to share, because we teach, women just like you how to bring in additional income.
Mhm.
So we have over 1,200 licensed agents across the United States. And I'm probably the most proud about that. I'm proud that we have stay-at-home moms and engineers and architects and doctors and nurses and school teachers and preachers and Uber Lyft drivers and recent
Mm.
graduates, who are able to bring in an additional 1,500, 5,000, 10,000, $30,000 into their
Yes.
home. But I'm most excited about the ability to be in a position to serve, other families in that magnitude.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, for PPP, Prepare Pray Plan, you are a wealth expert. I mean, so a little bit about the structure of the event for those who are on the fence, but feel free to get your ticket by clicking on the link in our bio. We're going to be having 3 breakout rooms. And why I said this event is so different from any other one you would go for, because when it's time to plan for the year, honestly, I know there are so many buckets. Like when I plan for my year, there's the finance and the health and the mindset and the career and the business and all of that. Right. But when we come for an event like this, sometimes it's like you have bits and pieces of everything. And so I was asking myself, what's the best way to really give people the time to really focus on one and have their step-by-step plan? And that's why we have 3 breakout rooms. And so the ladies in attendance are going to spend enough time choosing one of the 3 breakout rooms. One of the breakout rooms is business, the other one is career. The last but not the least is strategic partnerships and collaboration. So you choose one and spend time really figuring out, what do I want my 2024 to look like in this one that I have chosen. But in addition to that, we have amazing panelists like Jasmine, who are going to be covering the other buckets that are super important to us as well. Finance. We have health, we have finance, we have faith. So Jasmine is going to be our finance and wealth building expert on that day, and all the ladies in attendance are going to be asking her questions, and she will be sharing her product, her services, the things that we're not even aware of. I mean, look at the economy, for goodness sake. Like, there's so many things going on. I need to build wealth, right? So your experience, tell us more about your experience. How did you get into wealth building, Jasmine? How did you get here?
Such a great question, because I never in a million years thought I would be in anything finance related. My degree is in political science from Howard, and my master's degree is in public policy. So a great deal of my academic experience and preparation is really rooted in, public policy, pre-law, centered around going into the government sector. So I spent some time working on Capitol Hill. So I'm completely unqualified when I first got into the industry. No signs that would even qualify me to be in the industry, but God. My used to a gentleman in 2017, who said, hey, my wife and I, we're in financial services. We have a part-time business where we're bringing in an additional, $10,000 a month. Do you think this is something that you and your wife would be interested in? And it was a slow turn for me, because I grew up in an environment where your income is really correlated to your level of education. And so I was skeptical because it didn't require a degree. And that's something that the ladies at the event is, stop being so skeptical. The dreams ask for you that may not require that JD, that PhD.
Yes.
It's just a matter of having faith and surrendering. And so because up until that point, Stella, my identity was really rooted in my education. That's how I would myself. That's how I would define myself, by what I had done. And here it is, God was saying, I don't need any of that to place you where I want to have you. And so my husband was introduced to the industry. We didn't really get started until spring of 2018. And we became licensed professionals. And we were very much part-time. We both still had very demanding careers. My husband was an engineer. I was working as a director of communications. And what we did know, though, Stella, was that we wanted to start spending more time with our kids. We wanted to start spending more time with one another. And so here's how the enemy will trick us sometimes, is he'll have us thinking exploring a new opportunity is too much, right? Like you're already stretched.
Yes.
You already have way too many competing priorities.
Yeah.
That was my mindset. But then I realized, if nothing changes, nothing.
That's true.
In order for me I needed to start exploring some alternative opportunity that would allow me to free up that time, eventually, not in the beginning, because in the beginning you're trying to learn.
Yes.
But that long term, my job wasn't gonna, all of a sudden allow me to only work 2 days from home. Like my routine, if I continued the corporate America route, my routine was set. I would continue to work from 8 a.m. in the morning to about 8 p.m. every single day, Friday. So I wanted to bet on myself. We got into the business May of 2018, part-time. In our first 10 months part-time, generated figures. And at that point, I remember telling myself, wow, it's costing you money to go to work for someone else.
Wow.
I prayed about it. My husband and I talked about it. And he remained full-time as an engineer, and I fired my boss in month 11. And it was the best decision I could have ever made. Wasn't easy, but it was the best decision I could have ever made.
That's such a powerful testimony. And the reason why I say so is because you just the story behind it, right? First of all, you talked about the fact that how the enemy so sees and say they're trying something new. What if you don't have the capacity for it? But if you don't try, you would never know. And then you still stay committed to that. And they talked about the cost of working for somebody else as opposed to focusing on this full time, but also the why behind why you wanted to do this, spend more time with the kids. But the last statement you made about your husband stayed full time as an engineer and you do this. And so talking about the balancing, I guess, and the negotiation between a couple as well. And this is so relatable because the ladies are going to come in on that day are going to have different stories, and a part of their story is going to stick out to them. Like I like the part about the engineer. One person is full time. I don't know if he's still full time, but you're focusing on the business or wanting to spend more time with the kids and having to make such a career decision as well. So it's way beyond just even building wealth, but talking about the thoughts and the the mindset that led you to making this decision.
Yeah. As I mentioned, it wasn't easy because, and some of the women watching this or men can relate when you grow up in an environment where you are told to follow a very specific path to achieve the American
Mm-hmm.
dream. You're not really encouraged to divert from that journey. And so,
Sure.
after high school, it's college. And after your bachelor's is some form of, you know, post-secondary,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's master's
After.
or GD, JD.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had really attached my identity and self-worth to those labels and that trajectory. Um, and so my husband and I, when we started to see the income come in,
Yes.
financial services, I started to get very curious as to why is this such a lucrative industry, but more importantly, why isn't anybody talking about it? And then even greater than that is why aren't there more people
My
who
God.
look like in the
Yeah.
and so I had all of these questions now that I wanted to answer, and I just remained obedient to God, and we started telling other couples, single
Mm-hmm.
friends, empty nesters, everyone that would listen. We started people about what we were doing, and by the grace of God, we have grown the Wealth Academy from just two people, Ellis and I, in 2018, trying to figure it out, and
Mm-hmm.
for dear life to our faith, um, to over 1,200 agents today, and both my husband and I both right now are full time in our
Wow.
business.
And that's a 5-year journey for this listening as well. Sometimes you just have to be patient in the journey. It's a 5-year from 2 to 1,200. Kudos to you and your husband, Miss Jasmine. All right, so let's talk more about even just wealth building, right? Let's lay a foundation. What would you say is very important for financial success as we are already in this new year? What are the things we should consider or the building blocks that are critical for a strong foundation for financial success?
Yeah, I would say the first thing that we tell our clients and our agents is to have a financial plan. You would be surprised how many people have never sat down and created a financial plan. And a plan is simply a roadmap for where you want to be. And that roadmap can be, where you want to be within 1 year, 3,
Mm-hmm.
5 years, 20 years.
Right.
Ultimately need to create a financial plan that says, maybe you want $2 million in retirement income by the time you reach age 65. Okay, so that's the goal, but the plan is the strategy, the steps
Right.
need to achieve that goal. So I'll give you some building blocks that I have really been able to build my business and recommendations that I make to my clients. Let me see, I'm going to probably go over some of them. So after you create the financial plan, step 2,
Mm-hmm.
start. so
Budgeting,
many,
right? Right.
so
Okay.
many people have a plan, but they don't know how they're going to afford their financial goals. How can you afford, that car, that home, that private school for the
Right.
kids, that vacation villa? You want to create a budget. You'd be surprised how many of us don't look at our credit card statements. The other day, Stella, I printed out my DoorDash orders just for the past 90 days, and I was blown away at how
You
I
spend.
DoorDash, because I underestimated the significance
Mhm.
of DoorDash into my financial
Wow.
plan. So I wasn't budgeting it, budgeting in gas, groceries, eating out, your nails, your hair, date night with your husband,
Yeah.
family, kids, really having a budget. If you tithe to your church, that needs to be,
Yeah.
there should be no money that leaves your account that's not for. Because
Wow.
when you start to actually account for that money, you can see whether or not you're building towards that financial goal or you're detracting,
From it.
subtracting. And I guarantee guarantee you, you'll start making wiser decisions. It's like, do you really need to do brunch every Saturday? Really need happy hour every Thursday? You know, is that decision going to help towards achieving a long-term financial goal? And then the third thing is maximize your savings. This is important because it takes money to make money. And a lot of us go into a new year with resolutions. And I was sharing this earlier today that about 3 years ago, I stopped doing resolutions and I started doing more, you know, new year commitments, manifestations, making a prayer board. Is because really what you need, let me be very clear. You don't need resolutions, you need habits. You need new.
Absolutely.
And so let's scratch new year.
Yep.
Let's replace it with new year habits.
Yes.
And
because old habits are not going to create new resolutions for you. Yeah.
No, because honest, what a new year resolution is anyway is just something that you said you were going to do last year that you
you wrote over
in front of it this year, and all of a sudden, you know, you've psyched yourself into thinking, well, this really is going to be the year.
Right.
The thing that I would say when it comes to that financial plan, going back to step one, having that solid financial plan, Stella, sometimes I tell our clients, you know, after I assess and really take a look at your financial habits and your money blueprint, your relationship with money, because you know, that's an actual relationship that we don't talk about enough. You know, whether or not you're abusing it, neglecting it, what is your relationship with money, with wealth? One of the things that I tell people is start with a quarterly strategy. Yes, you can have a 12-month goal. Yes, you can have a 20-year goal, but most of us need monthly accountability. Most of us need quarterly accountability.
Right.
Maximizing your savings. Let's say you want $250,000, okay? $250,000 saved by December 31st, 2024. So then break that down into how much money do you need to save a week?
Yep, that's right.
And then most importantly, where do you want to save your money? I specialize in products where my clients can receive compound interest. So unlike a traditional savings account at a bank, where the rate of return is horrible, 0.0001%, it literally in a traditional bank account, in your savings account, it will take you 72 years to double your money. So there's in finance, we call it the rule of 72. And basically you can figure out how long it'll take your money to double, right? And so if you take a look at the interest rate that we receive in our traditional banks is 0.001%. If I were to give you $1 today, it would take 72 years for that $1 to become $2.
You're kidding me.
72 years for that $1 to become $2. And most of us don't know it. And we have $1,500 sitting in a bank account. We have $5,000, $50,000 sitting in our savings account. And here's the worst part that most middle market America doesn't know. Your money is not actually sitting there. The bank has taken your money and they've invested it into it. They're getting the interest.
That's right.
Pennies on the dollar. So if the bank is wise enough to do something else with your money, not to even leave your money with them, they don't trust themselves for you to leave your money with them. Why are you having your money with them? So my recommended product when it comes to maximizing your savings is in an index vehicle. And this specifically an index universal life insurance policy that most people don't know about. Now, recently it's been super trendy via TikTok, thankfully, with this become your own bank, right? If you take a look at the way that your money grows, so there's only 3 ways, Stella, that your money can grow in the world. The first way is a fixed vehicle. What are fixed vehicles. It's our savings accounts. It's our money market accounts. It's our CDs. What do we love about a fixed vehicle? It's safe. What don't we like about a fixed vehicle? There's little to no growth, right? Very, very. The second type of account that you can put your money in is called variable account. What do we love about variable accounts? Well, the potential upside is really high. When the market is performing well, that interest can be significant. But what happens when, not if, the market is not performing well?
Right.
Definitely seen, if we just kind of go back and study the history of recessions in our country, every 10 to 12 years, the market will correct itself. It has to. And so as the market is correcting itself, hey, Nimi, as the market is correcting itself, we end up seeing inflation. Everything around us is costing more money, whether it's the cost of gas or groceries. But unfortunately, we also see unemployment peak, right? So now everything around me is costing more money, Stella, but now I am, and the most vulnerable I've ever been to my financial security because everybody's downsizing. So this is what happens when you think about a variable account. Yes, you can make money, but every 10 to 12 years, you will lose money.
Yeah.
And hoping, think about it this way, Stella, what happened if you were set to retire in 2008 when the housing market crashed? You can no longer afford to retire. Your money was in the market, right? What happened in 2020 with COVID-19 when, again, recession, right?
Yeah.
If you had to retire that year, well, you maybe just lost 30 to 40% of your retirement.
Wow.
That's a variable vehicle. We love it when the market is up. We hate it when
it comes down.
And
yeah,
the thing, we never know when the market
comes down. My goodness.
Now, that most people don't know about, and this is specific to middle market America, and this is called index funds. Index fund is the best of both worlds. It gives you safety and potential for growth, and that's really what I always recommend to my clients when it comes to saving.
Okay.
When you want to save money, you want your safe and for growth. That growth is not like that bank account. It's not 0.001%. No, that growth is anywhere from 5 to 8% annual interest that you're going to receive. And so that's what I'm talking about when we talk about maximizing your savings. Number 4, manage your debt. Manage your debt. Notice I did not say pay off your debt.
Manage it.
So many people assume that debt-free is synonymous with wealth building, and that's not true, because there is such a thing as good debt. Your business needs some form of debt. You need some form. How else can we build up your credit profile? If some form of debt, but you need to learn when you can actually pay your credit card statement 5 days before the due date so that it can impact your credit score 7 to 11 points. The things like this you need to know. So manage your debt. Don't just completely eliminate your debt. Don't also be naive and neglect your debt.
Right.
Don't just, as my husband used to jokingly say before we got into the industry, those student loan bills will take care of themselves. No, they won't. They actually won't. You actually have to pay them attention, So manage your debt. Be very, run your credit profile once a month on the same day every month. Look at your debt to income ratio. Look at your assets versus your expenses. Figure out what you can prioritize in terms of, reducing that debt. The 5th thing is invest. I can't speak that enough, but I want to be clear. Notice that I said budget. First of all, have a right.
Saving. I was trying to take you while you're speaking. Yep.
Have a solid financial plan.
Yeah.
Right. Create a viable budget for you. Manage your savings, manage your debt, and then I said invest. Most of us in middle market America, we start off with investing because that's what we see on Instagram. And dollars a month into the stock market, invest this, invest that. Get your financial home in order, right? Before you start, I'm going to become a millionaire because I just took this class. But you're like literally paralyzed in debt right now. Like if you can't afford right now an emergency, a medical emergency, a flat tire, reevaluate the priorities in which your financial plan. So just, I wanted to point out, number 5 is invest. I personally, as I mentioned before, Stella, I love investing in index funds. I just, I do believe in diversifying your investment portfolio, meaning it's nothing wrong with having some fixed accounts, variable accounts, and indexed accounts, but you want to be very clear what percentage of your money, your wealth portfolio, are you willing to lose?
Right.
If it's percent, then only put 20% of your money in a variable vehicle, right? But most people, when you explain it to them this way, they only want to probably put anywhere 10 to 15%. One of my clients 30%, and that's because she was really young. So she felt like she had enough years to kind of live through a few recessions if her money was dip. By the time clients sit down with me and have this conversation, more often than not, it's too late, meaning they can't play the long-term game. Building wealth. So that's the 5th step, I would say. And then 2 more. Number 5, understand tax implications. You got to understand tax implications. Obviously, we have more tax leniency as business owners, more tax write-offs. But understand the tax implications. What tax bracket do you fall in? Maybe you are an employee and you have a side business. Keeping those, that money separately. Understanding tax implications. If you have additional income, it can place you in a higher tax bracket. Your CPA, again, manage your P&L statement monthly. I say monthly until you kind of get used to it, and then you can go into quarterly. But there's 3 tax vehicles: tax now, tax later, and then tax never. And most people have never heard of tax late, tax never. And I'm going to talk about that in detail as 4 homes of money at your event. So if you haven't gotten your ticket for Women Trade, you got to get your ticket, because some of this I'm only going to actually teach at that event. And then number 7, insure your wealth.
Insure your wealth.
Insure your wealth. Just like you insure your life, just for your health, insure your wealth. The Wealth Academy, my agency, we specialize in teaching clients how to protect their life, their health, and their wealth. And that's super important, because many people don't know that there is such a thing as tax-free, wealth building strategies, tax-free. People have never heard of these. We just assume that we're going to have to pay the government for the rest of our lives. And there are no vehicles created to be tax shelters, right? To avoid tax implications. And that's not true. So those are the 7 key building blocks.
You just took us to school. Like I was frantically trying to take notes here. I'm like, this is amazing, because honestly, I'm not trying to generalize. Most times when it comes to wealth building and finance, it goes over the heads of most women, and we need to make sure that we understand these things for ourselves.
And also, it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Absolutely not.
I've been in the industry for 6 years now, and 6 years ago I had no clue, Stella, about anything that I'm talking about. I'm just so grateful to be in the industry, and that's why I'm so passionate about giving this information out. And it's also why my husband and I created an ebook that we're going to make accessible to all of your participants for free.
Thank you.
So to every person who attends your conference, we'll make our ebooks accessible. But it's a 10-step guide teaching people how to build tax-free wealth, where I'm actually breaking down those steps, and that's super exciting. So
if you've not gotten your ticket, I don't know what you're waiting for, honestly, because if it's just for this, like you've got it the worth of your money 10 times more, honestly. And we have many more phenomenal speakers and panelists that are going to be on that day. So please and please, do not wait anymore. Like the early bird tickets is still up in our bio, Women Doing It Afraid. Please follow us, check out the link. And Jasmine also has a discount code as well. So if you want to get your discount code, send her a DM, follow her, and tell her, hey, can I get your discount code and get your ticket? I mean, because when you started talking about the financial plan, I was like, oh, I have to ask you, I hope you're going to come with something that we can take a scan a QR code and get some sort of draft or whatever. But you're giving us an ebook. Like, you're taking it to the next level. Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness. This is
I'm getting
amazing.
a special treat just for everyone with the QR code to continue to stay connected and join our private wealth building community. It's 100% free. So I'd love to invite people in it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being super, super generous. If anyone has any question about the event or anything that you've heard today, please feel free to put it in the comment section, and we should be able to answer some of those questions as well. Okay, let me go through any questions that I had, because I feel like you've answered most of my questions. Hopefully you have, right? I know. All right. So what about you? If share a personal finance practice that has helped you successfully plan for your long-term goals. And I'm sure probably one of the 7 you've mentioned, but anyone stands out to you more, maybe?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite personal finance is um, this is more spiritual, so maybe I'll share two, but paying God first.
Mm,
You know, I take time very serious. I do because I feel like it's this unspoken. Sometimes we gloss over when God is performing miraculous signs in people's lives. I think God can take you today earning $30,000 in this year earning 30 million,
yeah.
but watching to see if you're a good steward over your resources, over what given, and he can multiply. So for me, a financial practice personally that I have is it's a non-negotiable. I take that very serious. I owe it to God, so he's going to get 10% off top. The other thing that I would say, which is a really good, is I think every single month, my husband and I, we sit down and we review our financial plan. And we have very open, candid, transparent conversations.
Hmm.
We assess our needs. We reassess our priorities. There was something that I wanted that I didn't need last month, and my husband was very clear, like, you can get it in February if we do it. And what I like about that is my husband and I, and I'm giving you more than one financial practice, but
Okay.
we do something where we incentivize one another. And so, in order for us, when we achieve a financial goal, it's okay to reward yourself. You don't have to go crazy and go out and buy a Rolls Royce, but it's, say, okay, I want to do a staycation, or I want to, book a spa day.
Yeah.
So the way that I have transformed, I think, my relationship with money is that I have to earn my luxuries. That's a personal financial practice. I have to earn my luxuries. If I want whatever, it could be a handbag, a pair of shoes,
Yeah.
I haven't reached my savings goal, or I haven't reached, maybe I wanted my credit score to be somewhere and it wasn't by that day. Well, what else do I need to do? Maybe I need
Mm-hmm.
to pay off more debt. Maybe I,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the personal financial practice is, I pay God first. That's my tithes. My husband and I have a monthly financial date
Mm-hmm.
where we audit our finances, where there's no judgment. We 100% are aligned with the goals for that month, the priorities, the plan, and then we pray over that financial
Yeah.
plan.
Ooh.
Um, and then God bless it, for God to increase it. It's amazing the level of access and audacity you can have when you go to God, when you treat him as a priority. And so that's what we do. And then the third step is just rewarding myself,
Mm-hmm.
incentivizing, should I say, my behavior. So remember, I'm still reprogramming myself, Stella. I'm
Right.
still learning myself. So sometimes you have to deprogram to reprogram.
Yes,
So,
that's true.
I got $10,000. I want to go to Saks. No, girl. Right? You can go to Starbucks.
That could be your reward, Starbucks. Oh my goodness. This is phenomenal. I'm looking at the comments, and yes, thank you for talking about tithing. Honestly, I know people have different opinions about that, but absolutely, it is. It's you know, this for me, the spiritual stewards the physical, honestly, right? And when you talk about praying over your financial plan, it's literally saying that he is the provider, right? That he is the one who, who provides. And so perfect, combination to what we're talking about as well for the event, the prepare, pray, and plan. There's a reason why pray is there, because many are the devices in the man's hats, right? But he's the one who would order our steps, right? We can plan and all of that wonderful stuff, but there's a sort of wisdom and inspiration that comes from him that only him can give. And so I am super blessed to know that we're mixing financial wisdom here, but also backing it, with spiritual direction as well. And you sharing openly about fighting and being open with being transparent with your husband and praying about your financial plan, right? There's a reason why, that has to be done, and sharing your why and inspiring other people to do likewise as well. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's amazing. Like even the comments as well. Yeah, I love these tips.
Yeah.
I feel like on that day, people have to remind people to come with their notes and their pen, because it's going to be like a whole class for you. And one of the funny thing is, one of the other panelists, although she's talking about health, she's also a professional tax. She's a professional tax, I think, auditor or so. So it would be wonderful to to get her feedback even as you're speaking as well. It just came to my mind as well when you were speaking. Okay.
Yes.
I would have asked you to give us a sneak peek into any of the valuable financial insights you're going to be sharing at PPP, but I feel like you've already talked about it, the ebook. But tell us more. What more should we expect with the ebook? Tell us more.
Yeah, so the ebook is amazing. Again, it's it's a 10-step guide to building tax-free wealth. And I'm going to have that available for everyone at the conference. Women Doing It Afraid.
Yeah.
Is it prepare, plan, pray? I don't know if I'm doing
It's
all of my
okay.
P's.
Prepare, pray, plan. You're not the only one. It took a while for most people to get that too.
Prepare, pray, and plan.
Yes.
I'll have the ebook accessible for
Okay.
everyone.
Okay.
Subscribe to our email list, but I'll tell you one snippet
Yeah.
that I will be going over at the conference is teaching everyone the four homes of money. Many people don't know the actual homes of money, and by a home, meaning the four main vehicles that govern our lives, where most of us, really all of us, really have our money. And that fourth home of money is it's like the world's best kept secret. And
Okay.
so
So keep it as a secret to PPP. Okay.
I'm going to unveil what that home of money is, but more specifically, I'm going to teach the audience how to determine if a vehicle is right for you, how to determine if you should have your money in that vehicle based on your long-term financial plan. And so we'll talk about that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you again and again. I hope you're seeing the love in the chat as well. Thank you for sharing so much of yourself. This was just so amazing. Now, everyone on here, if you are in Atlanta, Georgia, our event is happening in Akros. So you have no reason not to be there January 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, this is a panel, and Jasmine is going to be on the panel, and she's sharing all of this and more. And Jasmine, if there isn't enough time, we're going to create a whole another event to get you to get you coming to come and share, because this year is our year. This year is a year where we are going to be very intentional about every aspect of our life as much as we can, especially finance, as women, as moms, as career professionals, as business, right? So it's just the perfect thing, because like I said, after the breakout rooms, we're now coming to say, okay, we want to do this in our career. I want to get promoted, I want to get better compensation, or we want to have multiple streams of income. Now you are literally giving us the icing on the cake on how then do we ensure that the income we're getting is multiplying itself for us. How do we ensure that we're not giving money to DoorDash without knowing how much we're giving to DoorDash, right? And little things like that, right? Little foxes, like it says, right? So thank you again for sharing. Someone from Nigeria, most also from Nigeria, but hi Norma, she said she's glad she stayed awake for this. She's not in USA, but financial freedom is the same everywhere. You learned a lot. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Really appreciate that. Who else again? Okay. Thank you, Nimi. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, for Makisha. I really hope that I'm able to see as many of you January 21st. And don't forget what Ms. Jasmine is going to be bringing on that day. Like she said, the secrets plus the ebooks and more. And like I said, if there isn't enough time, we will create. another time. Well, with that being said, I wanted to just appreciate you. I know that you've had a wonderful day. You're spending your evening with us today. I can't wait to see you January 21st and just experience the excellence and the wealth of experience and expertise that you do have, and most especially the women that are going to be in that space on that day. That's where our heart is. That people would come in and they would leave super empowered and mobilized to be more. That's the goal. So thank you for sharing your gift with each and every one of us. Thank
No, of course, it is my honor to serve the mission that God has for you and in this community. So I look forward to spending time with all of you ladies, and have a wonderful evening.
you too. Bye, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us. Bye.